What's good, fam? It's your boy Isiah Anderson Jr. from BUILD, and we getting ready to kick off our 2022 barbershop series where we get it in, we get some conversation going, and we give some dialogue. We've been doing it for a number of years now, but we back, and it's about to go down. I want to kick it over to my man Dré real quick before I give you our topic for today.
What's going on? This is Dré with Brothers United Leadership Development. Happy to be here at Axe on Stage to film our 2022 Barbershop Series. I want to give a little bit of history about the Barbershop Series. When we started in 2013, we decided we wanted to go out to where the community was having the conversations, especially we focused on issues that impact black men and boys. So we wanted to go into the barbershops to have conversations where black men and boys and women in the community are just having those types of conversations. So we've been doing this for a number of years. COVID kind of sidetracked us, and so we had to get innovative this year. So we're happy to partner with Axe on Stage as well as Dancing in the Rain Media to bring this session series of the Barbershop Series to y'all. Thanks.
Yeah, okay, so I'm back. Check me. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about Black Men United. Pros and cons. What does that look like? What does it feel like? And we joined by some family members here, some community activists, some cats that have been in the community doing their thing for a good while. So we're going to let them introduce themselves.
I am Lyshawn Hunter.
Hi, what's up? I'm Ed Hampton.
What up? It's your boy DJ Uncle Guy.
Yeah. So now you see who we got here today to join us. My man DJ Nice Guy in the building. We got my man Cuddy, Lyshawn Hunter in the building, and we got the serious pro-black brother. You hear me? Pro to the black, Ed in the building. So man, we're gonna talk about Black Men United. What does that look like? There was a song out late 90s or so, early 2000s, somewhere in there. Jason's Lyric was the movie that came out, and the song You Will Know was produced by D'Angelo, but had 40 artists, 40 male artists join in to sing the song called You Will Know. And they sent all the proceeds to different organizations that would help people in the black community. But it's like, for me, it's like right now, like if Black Men United, not just singers, but all of us got together, right? What would that look like? What would that feel like? What are the pros and cons, if there are any cons? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna kick it off with Cuddy real quick. Lyshawn, what is that Black Men United? What does that picture look like? What is that,
I mean, really just coming together no matter, your background. I mean, a lot of times you're gonna connect with, what, somebody was brought up, doing, whatever it is, and and then it comes to like, connecting with somebody else that's been through the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, you just come together and really just, have the same, mindset of what you're trying to do and just like connect and, just be a whole. That's really what it is, really. It's just coming together and just coming together and just sharing different experiences, and a lot of times you're gonna have the same experiences, which makes you connect with somebody else. Like, oh yeah, me too. You don't know until you know.
Right on.
That's that's the thing about it, is not knowing until you know. That's what surprises you, and you're like, oh man, he been through the same thing I've been through. So like, okay, what can we do to come together and be great and change some things that's going on in your community and just life itself. So that's one. Yeah, that's the thing that I see.
That's what's up. Appreciate that comment, Cut. Now I'm gonna go to Ed real quick, because Ed, a lot of people don't know, right? You a young cat, but you bit of a black history historian, bro. You like to get it in deep. You almost Huey P. Newton type, Malcolm X type. So man, tell the people what your mindset is around Black Men United and what it looks like when we come together.
Man, it's hard. It's a hard thing to really say because, black people, we're not a monolith. Then it's like, over the last 50, 100 years, you know, we've been, you know, we all done migrated from the South, and we were also poor too. So it's like we didn't have the resources to even be building with each other and connecting with each other. So because of that, it's like, you know, we become isolated, and new cultures from those cities and those states pop up. Like, you know, people got different accents, people have different conditions, you know what I'm saying? There's more black people down south in Midwest, New York, even LA than there is up here in Seattle. So it's like so many different factors that, you know, guide, you know, our unity, you know what I'm saying, and disunity, you know. So, you know, that's a word, and then on top of that, you know, we've been warred on this whole time, you know, mass incarcerated to keep this prison industrial complex going, and slave industrial complex, you know what I'm saying. And it's like, you know, a lot of black men aren't necessarily like fighting against it no more. It's more of falling into the trap. You know what I'm saying? And even when they get out, it's like now it's a bragging thing or a rite of passage to be in prison and different shit's like just a part of our culture. Yeah. And it's like our ancestors, from when they were stolen from West Africa, they were fighting. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people be like, oh, our people over in West Africa sold us. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, a lot of them were still fighting, you know what I'm saying, and being enslaved. And even the ones who were selling us, once the economy started hitting different out there, and because a massive people are leaving and all these Europeans are coming in, they were trying to figure out another medium to be trading with the Europeans with, but they were like, the Europeans were like, no, we got a market that you need to keep meeting this quota to get black folks out to the States, and mainly like black men, definitely black women too, but mainly black men. Like when it comes to the European slave trade, they were focused on men because they needed power. When it came to the Arab slave trade, they were more focused on women and they would castrate black men and keep the women as like sex slaves and all types of other crazy stuff. So it's so many dynamics. And when I think of black men united, like, you know, I'm a Pan-Africanist, so I think of the world. You know, I think about black men all over the world, African descent people all over the world, and African men on the continent. So what does that actually look like to reconnect with, you know, black men on the continent who are going through the same stuff as us, you know, but speaking different languages? Yeah. So,
yeah, that's deep, man.
You going deep.
Yeah, he did. When you said they're going through the same thing, but we speak different languages, that's deep in the sense that because I don't understand you means I'm disconnected, right? And we're going through the same thing, but we have two different types of language. So yeah, I'm gonna throw it over to Dré real quick, you know.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, that's what BUILD is about, Brothers United in Leadership Development. So it's, you know, first I think what it looks like is we gotta have time and energy to spend building relationships. If we don't have that and we just focus on, you know, Ed's touched on this a little bit, like capitalism. If we focus on capitalism, we just get on the hamster wheel and just, you know, you got spending so much time trying to get money to pay your bills and buy your kids things and holidays and all this other stuff. And we think we just need to have time and resources to really just slow down and spend time with each other as black men, get to know each other. And that's what we've tried to do with BUILD. So that's how I kind of see it working, or what it would look like is really just folks really being intentional on building relationships. I mean, Ed talked about the slave trade all the way up to, you know, gangs in the 90s. All these things are things that have been put in place that we didn't necessarily design, but we engaged. We were the victims or the subset, you know. So, and then movies and social media and all this other things tells us how we're supposed to act. So we've been taught not to trust, not to rock with each other, not to be accountable to each other, and so on and so forth. So we have to put as much time and energy that they're putting in to teach us not to rock with each other, not to be united, you know, and have this. We're really tribal people. Black folks in general are tribal people, right? Folks of color in general are tribal people. So we're really supposed to be together and spending time with each other, sharing stories, learning from one another. We have a lot of resources, and a lot of our resources and the skills that we have individually don't even necessarily be money. We have access to a lot of money too, but But the problem is we don't have a lot of trust,
Right.
a lot of respect, a lot of accountability, and that it takes time to build that trust, right? It takes time. And that's why we try to offer these types of things, the barbershop series, so we can have conversations and share. And now we're spinning off and doing a salon shop series to give women an opportunity. Because as we started, when we started, Bill, it was like, hey, we're going to focus on issues that impact black men and boys. But we know anything that impact us impact our women, right? But we just feel like we got to fix home first, get our stuff together, get our core, get our relationships together. And now we're at the point where we're starting to push some of those resources out into the community. So I feel like what we've done and other organizations have done that really focus on relationships, some that come to mind is like Village of Hope and those types of organizations that really focus on community and bringing people together and having conversations and just breaking bread is really what's going to get us to working together. If we think we're just going to come together on some initiative or whatever, I don't think that's really some transactional thing. I don't think it's really going to happen. Now, you may be able to get the transactional things after you got the relationships in place, but if it's only we're coming together to solve voting rights or whatever it is, and it's just we're just coming together on whatever this issue is, or education or police brutality, then it's not really a long-term relationship. So that's what I think. I think everything's rooted in relationships.
That's what's up. And you're heavy on that, Dré, and you've been heavy on it for a long time, that relationships are the foundation and should be the foundation of what we do and how we do it. And which brings me to my man, Nice Guy. Listen, this cat, I can speak from experience, my own personal experience, that guy is definitely about bringing people together, bringing organizations together, just doing it big. And you've been doing it for a long time. You and your brother own one of the first black record stores in Seattle, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so if you can just touch on, man, just some of the work that you continue to do.
He's a living relic.
You believe that?
I remember the gumbo mix. The gumbo
Nice Guy's
mix.
been around, man.
Can I get another gumbo mix? R&B though.
We're going off the topic. The topic is,
ARS.
man, just like you said, Zeke, like you said, that's what this is all about, building. I was groomed, prepped, taught by OGs, taught by my mom, taught by my family to work together. It's smarter to work together. So I love to see us work together. I love to see us come together. Love to see it make it. That's magic, like you said. You got the new and improved, got the seasoned vet, got the. That's a relic.
For real.
I got more gray, but it's a beautiful thing. Like you say, man, it's a blessing to get a place, an environment where you can relax and communicate with the brothers, come together, build resources. And I just see it as a beautiful thing, man. That's it. I always been groomed, support black, be black, help black do this. So us coming together is a beautiful thing, but that negative side comes too. So
let's talk about that real quick. And all of us have touched on parts of what causes that lack of trust or that lack of wanting to get involved because I've been burned before. People have heard me say some of my greatest moments since I've been in Seattle has been from people that look like me. Some of my worst moments have been with people that look like me. And so, let's touch on that for a minute. What else causes, aside from, right, we were separated, right? Our languages were changed. And so we started doing that. The fact that we're going through the same things with different understandings. So Ed, how do you feel about some of the negative aspects of all that?
Well, I mean, because I grew up in the hood, and things wasn't always sweet, but it's a trip coming into consciousness, being more aware of stuff, and going into these fields of around people who are in the movement and in nonprofits, and I find the same thing. What I'm saying, that was going on, in low class, poor Black America, killing each other, selling dope, pimping, all. What I'm saying, like this, and it's like I didn't expect it to be like that up here. So I just had to highlight that. But man, yeah, from being in both of those spaces, it's really hard to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know trust is a definite thing, but I know that really it's emotions, you know.
Yeah.
And Dr. Edwin Nichols, I had went to one of his workshops, and he was saying that, you know, for Black, Arabs, and Latinos, the highest value of the race is relationships. So when he would go into prisons to talk to people, to talk to the brothers in there, to find out the different crimes that they were in there for, it's like the crimes led from people being disrespected. You know what I'm saying? And that was like a huge reason why we're mass incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to our history, you know what I'm saying, of us being disconnected from our culture. So that's why I really feel like, you know, us really finding out about who we are and how we operated, you know, from the source, not from the branches of this tree, because we're always reacting to, you know, if a police kill us, we come together on that.
Yeah.
And it's like, we need to come together before that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We need to be having BUILD Black Barbershop Series in every city. You know what I'm saying? In every county, really.
That's what's up.
You feel me? Like, people need to be already building, because it's like, then people come together around a very important cause, and nobody's even on the same page about what we should do about it, or if they do get on the same page, you know, people got ulterior motives in their background, and then let the wrong person get disrespected, and that's your ass, or you're canceled, or, you know what I'm saying, it's some type of, it's gonna happen to, something's gonna happen to literally just destroy and splinter, and we're back in the same spot again. And it's just a cycle that I see happening in like definitely in nonprofits, but in the hood too. Because like when I was in middle school, like it seemed like all of our gangs, like I'm from the Central District, so it was like all of our gangs were more together. And then 8th grade hit, and it was like the older cats got into it on some Civil War shit, you know, in the Central District, and it spread down to us, and things have never been the same since. You know, and that was 2008.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just splintered. Now it's just click, 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 and it's like all these people are the same. And I do see certain people that are trying to come back together and you know what I'm saying, be on the same page with stuff, and even coming with people from opposite gangs in the South, and people are getting together and doing music and stuff. But it's like still these just remnants from the past. It's called, and the remnants from the past, and then it being exacerbated by the music that is at the top. You know, all this stuff coming out of Chicago. It's just making the kids want to be more, you know, get their stripes off of killing, or getting their stripes off of doing whatever illicit street shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's So
you touched on a serious point to me of disrespect, right? And when we as a people start to feel like we've been disrespected, I'll share this real quick, and Dré knows this. I've always touched on that of trust and that of knowing, right? Trust is literally something you have to do with people you don't know, right? Literally, you got to do. Trust is something you have to deal with people you don't know. If I don't know you, when you say, "Yo, man, I cut grass and I cut grass good," I'd be like, I don't know that. So if you're gonna come cut my grass, I gotta trust you're gonna do a good job. Right. Feel me?
Right.
And now if you cut my grass 2-3 weeks, and my joint keep looking good, now I know you can cut grass. So I don't have to trust anymore that you'll cut my grass good. I know you will. But if you mess up my grass, a month later, I'm like, wait a minute, I knew this cat could cut my grass, but now I gotta trust him again, right? So we as a people, and it all goes back to Dré saying that of relationships, right? Relationships allow us to get to know people, right? Sure. I don't have to trust that guy's gonna call me if he's got an event that he wants. I know Guy will call me, right? Sean is my cousin. I don't have to trust that he's gonna call me if something go down in the family. I know he's gonna call me, right? Dre's my brother. It's like, I know what this cat will do. So I don't really have to trust that they'll do it, because I'm knowing. It's when we get in that unknowing, that it starts to become an issue, that we start to feel like, oh, you disrespected me, bro. For real? This is how we gonna get down, right? And also, Ed, you touched on when they separated us and made us then have to use our own, right, to get what we get. When we finally come back together, it's like, now I got mine. Right. You were able to get yours. don't try to come at mine, right? Because we came at it, we got it, we both got it, but we both got it differently, right? And how I got mine is how I want to keep mine, and how you got yours is how you want to keep yours, right? And that's a lot of the mentality, because we didn't have the opportunity to create those relationships of knowing one another, right? As opposed to having to trust. And you know, that old saying, if you're looking for dirt, you can walk in the cleanest spot. But if dirt is what you're looking for, dirt is what you'll find. Right. No matter how clean it is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, really. So, Cuddy, where you at with this, man?
I mean, yeah, it just, I mean, you're upbringing, like, you don't know until you really know, you know what I mean, what's going on and everything. And it's just like, you know, once you like, you know, I learned like through the years, it's like you just start knowing and like getting better. If you want to be better, you start knowing and then like growing, and it's like, man, I don't want to be like how I was last year. I don't want to be how I was growing up. Let me talk to some people so I'll know like where they're at too. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I'm not trying to be where I was at. So let me like, you know, reach out to my peoples, and like the closest people to me are the people that I met through other people. It's not people that I've known for a long time, and I'm thankful for it. And I think every day I'd be like, I didn't ask to be here. I didn't pray. I didn't ask to be, you know what I'm saying, be close to this person. Yeah. And you know, their experience, my experience, and it just click, and then it just blossoms. You know what I mean? And I think it just kind of just starts like, where you just, you know, from the bottom up and just growing and just knowing like I don't want to be where I was, and just, you know, just coming up from that.
Well, that's what's up. And guys, so, you know, another term I use in Dré always reminds me that I used to always say, in every aspect of life, no matter how old you get, no matter what status you get, no matter how much amount of money you get, in every aspect of life, you are either going to be a student or a teacher. Yeah. Right? Period. In every aspect, student or a teacher. And I always say, as a student, pay attention. Get the right information, right? Because as a student, you can get the wrong information. And then when you become a teacher, you give that wrong information. I always give the example, like, anybody ever ask somebody for directions and they've been like, yeah, man, you go over here and you go over there, and it's like the wrong directions. You just be like, you didn't know, say you didn't know.
Why you do that?
Right, why you gonna get me lost? right? Now, I didn't give somebody else the wrong direction, you know what I'm saying? But Guy, bro, you've always been, you know, though you continue to be a student, you've always been a teacher in the community, bro. So can you just speak to that?
It's just the way I was raised. Like I said, I was raised by OGs, by my mom, by my aunts, my family, the older fools from the hood. Everybody it was just no jealousy. I think that's what saved it. Just no jealousy. I'm not jealous.
Real. It'll be real.
You do you, I'm gonna do me. We gonna make it. Let's go. You know,
real.
No
we
jealousy.
Gonna be all right.
I was able to put my ego to the side, and it made it work. But a lot
Guy
of people
would
can't
always
do
say, "There's enough money to go around." He would always say that.
Everybody eats.
Seattle would have been on the map for a long time ago in the music industry, all the industries, if we could have just stuck together.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Loved on each other and build. If we would have built together, you know, like things I learned from the streets is the code of the streets. You know, so I learned the code. Then I learned from OGs you know, the game of watch out for this, the flaws, the pitfalls, everything. So, but it's just sad, like you said, it's just sad, like the negativity. It just could be like me and my lady friend could be building a certain way. Isiah and his wife could be building a certain way, and all it takes is my girl to say, Isaiah's been having a lot of and you're exactly right.
Huh.
And then, but I've been knowing Zeke for years. Yeah. So I'm not even gonna listen. I'm like, yeah, baby. And I just stay focused. But just like you said, it's just sad, like the things that, like you talk about the streets, the different cliques and everything. Me, once you see it, the sad part with me, I built up a walk away syndrome. Or, oh, no, I'm about to walk away. If it's too negative, if it's messing up my peace, I'm gone.
Yeah. It's like your first instinct, you gotta listen to that. You go feeling some kind of way, like,
Yeah. If you don't
Don't
want
fight
this,
it. Don't fight the feeling.
you don't want this free game, you don't want this education, you don't want this help. He might want it. You might want it. Dre might want it. Zeke might want it. So I just keep on moving. Don't hurt. You know, it's all good.
That's one of the things that I admire about Dré is that Dré is literally going to get it in first. He's going to get it, and then he'll be like, yo, man, I just figured this out. Bam. You'd be like this, oh, how long did it take you to figure it out? Man, I stayed up all day, all night. You're like, did you sleep, Dré? I didn't.
He doesn't sleep.
He doesn't, bro. But he dives in, and he's always coming in. You know how some people will come into something and they're looking at it one way? Dré literally off top just comes in like, okay, how can, and what does it look like that? And how is it looking from this angle? And how is it looking from that angle? And so, you know, Dré, just your own upbringing, bro. Could you share what is that motivation?
Yeah, I want to touch on some of the stuff that folks talked about, but I'll answer that as well. But, you know, like I said, I was raised in community, but, you know, part of what sparked me to start BUILD was I didn't have a dad, I didn't have uncles, and like all the older cats that were in the hood, I thought they were putting me on, but they were putting me in traffic. They were putting me in a negative situation. So I was even reflecting on where my son's at, being offered, you know, scholarships to go to O'Day and aviation and Kennedy, you know, for my education. I went to 10 schools between kindergarten and 12th grade. So it was like first and goal, and they were like, punt that cat, get him out of here. You know what I mean? So this, and not only that, like the relationships that my son has with Guy and you and Aaron and Larry and John Page, Ed, like all these black men that are around, like he has a community. So I know if something happens to me, he's good.
Believe that.
No matter what. So that's, but I was raised up, you know, in community, but then I, you know, steered left when I got into the streets. But then there was people like Guy, who taught me about business. Like him and his brother, they had ARS records. We talked about this. So it's giving the game and taking, and I kind of operate in community work the way I do as a parent, right? You take all the negative BS and try to keep that away from your kids, and then you try to take the positive and amplify it.
Yeah.
So what I tried to do was amplify the people that were beneficial, Glenn Hubbard's, Tim Metcalf's, James Hampton's, Guy Davis, you know, all the people that were beneficial to me, and I tried to amplify that. And that's part of why I got into Parks and Rec, because Rainier Late Night and those types of things were beneficial to me. So that's kind of how I try to navigate things, you know, and try to get everybody's perspective, and kind of that's what kind of like we try to have that flatline leadership with BUILD too, where everybody's voice matters and, you know, everybody's input is important. But I want to touch on what Ed talked about, because it was very important. I called it the term that you're talking about, where like these nonprofits and stuff are having the same behavior as the streets is really, it's institutional gang banging. So people are just banging, you know, it's just banging on a different level, you know what I'm saying? And really what drives it is capitalism. Is people don't have the resources that they need to really thrive and be happy and be joyful. And so the system sets these RFPs and tools up to where you gotta try to be the one, and how you gonna, and then you end up finessing each other, and it's really about the money. And that's why I always say money's a disorganizing tool in our community, because you were on the workshop on Saturday where Corey talked about, like, money is, the real freedom is money. If you got effort money, then you can, like on my situation, my job got me stressed out. Hey, guess what? I'm going half time. Most people don't have the flexibility to do that. They got to continue to deal with what they got to deal with to make things happen. So the same things happen in these nonprofits and people who say they're woke and proactive, because at the end of the day, they got to feed their kids. They got to pay their light bills. They have to do all these things. And they may have somewhat of analysis, but sometimes that's an issue too with coming together. So a con with coming back to your question, coming together is everybody's not on the same page. Matter of fact, everybody's not in the same chapter or in the same book.
Come on.
Right. And so the analysis be off, which that's part of our socialization with slavery and gangs and crack epidemic and all these other things that are going on, opiate epidemic, education, incarceration, all these different life experiences, religions, all these different things that have socialized us and separated and fractured us over time. It's hard for us all to be on the same page or in the same book or on the same chapter. So what I tried to do is find people that were somewhat like-minded. We're going to have diversity within what it is, because we're all not going to agree on everything. No. But how do we come together and value the diversity and value the different mindsets? But we at least got to have a similar analysis. We at least got to be putting relationships first, because if we're not spending time putting relationships first, then they're never going to know.
Right.
If I don't know what you're here for, if I think you're here for this money, or I think you're here for this initiative or whatever it is, and that's what it is, we got to be more proactive and less reactive. And what you said, when George Floyd, reaction. Somebody gets shot by the police, reaction. Some kid gets, beat up or whatever it is, it's always reactive, which is great. It's an opportunity for people to come together. It's kind of like MLK holidays, right? People go out, thousands of people come out, live the dream, then they go back to sleep. Right, so the same thing happens with the movements, right? It's people are reactive, but that's how they got us with capitalism, because we're so focused on being proactive with making sure our lights stay on, we're paying our rent, paying our bills, feeding ourselves, doing what we got to do, that we don't really have time to slow down and be proactive. I need to be able to be proactive to be able to build relationships with each one of you guys individually, reach out to people individually, rock with people individually. If you're not intentional about doing that, it's not going to happen. And the system knows that's not going to happen, and unless we can be united, the less when we need to really come together and really rock, it's not going to stay together, because we're just reacting to whatever that situation is. And once that thing fizzles out, or they throw a little bit of money in there, there's the distraction. So I think what you talked about is very profound, especially around, like you're saying, I've seen the same behavior from cats that shoot 'em up, bang bang, we're to shoot 'em up, bang bang on a different level. It's institutional gangbang, you know what I mean?
And it's worse when it happens up here, though, because all these resources are supposed to be stopping the shoot 'em up bang bang.
Right.
Like it'd be tripping me out how people act. I'm like, you guys not understand that if you get on the same page, we could stop a lot of kids from dying.
Yeah.
Like a lot of girls from going missing or running away, or whatever's going on. Like it's
So the most dangerous thing is when folks think they're doing good work. That's the part, because nobody wakes up and says, you know what, I'm gonna do bad work, or I'm gonna be destructive, or I'm gonna be disruptive, right? That's the part that's where the socialization and the like I said, your analysis is off when you start thinking you're doing good work, but you're really not. You can't see the full field, With sports we call it vision, like you can't see down the court. You're just seeing right here, dribbling with your head down. So, I don't think nobody that I've seen like doing community work in the Seattle area region is intentionally doing bad work, but I think a lot of folks are doing bad work because their analysis is often in its overlay with capitalism. It's hard to see down the court when you're trying to pay your rent, when you're trying to keep the lights on, when your kids you're dealing with all these isms that you're trying to fight. Your kid's going to jail. Your kid may have a gun, and you're trying to, react instead of being proactive. You're being reactive. So I try to set up a situation for my son where I can be proactive. So if something happens to me, the community's going to step in and make things happen. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Absolutely. So we just want to thank everybody. Dré, my man Dré, my man Black Power. You already know Ed in the building. Lyshawn, Cuddy Hunter, and DJ Mr. Nice Guy up in here, y'all. My name is Isiah Anderson Jr. We thank y'all for joining us at our, barbershop series. Build is what we do. 2022, we're going to keep doing it. So 22 is just another year for us, y'all. We're going to keep on making it happen. Any last words, Dré?
No, thanks to Acts on Stage. The partnership that we have with y'all, Z, is dope. And the Black Elephant Party, Mr. Nice Guy, Dancing in the Rain Media, and the Underground Barber, who's been chopping me up, got the lowest rates in town, man. You better get on.
Turn left, turn right.
You better get on. All right, y'all.
Peace and God bless.
peace and power.